It's early in the morning, going on what, Friday. Happy Friday. For those of y'all hitting it, I know the West Coast is still doing it. Shout out to BGS. I listened to BGS's video with the dust is spreading. And this, I need to check out this show Adolescent just to see what the fuss is about. But this video for you all that just get in here is mainly going to, because it's more of a replay style video, is really going to talk about the state of the quote unquote manosphere, black manosphere. It's gonna be a quick little opinion piece on that, and why it's not dead, why anybody that says the manosphere is dead is a moron, or they're just lying for marketing, and where these things are going. So I'm listening to Touré, and Touré is a liar. Like, first of all, Touré, he's not a journalist. I don't give a fuck what he got a degree in. The reality is, I'm really sick of these propagandists and I don't give a fuck about corporate media. I don't give a fuck about what you got to do. I don't care about playing a game. You're a coward. You're a coward, and you can't develop your own audience. So what you have to do is you have to allow the corporations to spoon feed you an audience, and you are part of the problem because you're a part of corporate media. You are a part of the problem. You're not a victim of the problem. You are a part of the problem. Let me be very clear about that. So Touré, and this is why I don't care when these people get fired, because they're shills, as shout out Professor Blacktree, who really calls them out. So Touré is basically lying about the space, because my thing is, if this stuff is so prevalent, why don't you notice how it's only, other than that documentary that feminists did, there's not a lot of they're really scared to create documentaries about the red pill, about the manosphere, and that's for a reason, because their main thing is they do not want to platform the manosphere. They don't want to platform the manosphere in any way. They're too scared even to platform someone like Andrew Tate. They're terrified. Even though Andrew Tate was Andrew Tate, they represented what him and his brother represented, not necessarily like the manosphere, but or the red pill in particular. I would say the manosphere, not the red pill. And they're terrified about that because they saw when he got platformed the risk of how fast what they can do. He can spread stuff is way more. They are terrified of that. Like, I need you to understand. Andrew Tate traumatized these feminists because these women believe that this stuff was settled law. They believe that the feminist social order and all these things were settled. This guy, they did not. It's just like America. In America, unipolar global order versus the multipolar global order we're heading into. They did not believe these things can change, and they made moves predicated on the idea that these things cannot change. So they are absolutely petrified, like mentally petrified. Like, I'm really not underselling that. The fact that they came up with an Andrew Tate law, all the fucking problems that the British have, all the fucking problems the United Kingdom has, they want to have an Andrew Tate law because of these boys. That tells you the United Kingdom does not have their fucking priorities straight. The United Kingdom has declined at a very rapid and scary pace. And the United States better learn from that shit. Like, for real. But that's another video for another day. But Touré is out here. If y'all see BG's video and y'all seen his clips, he's out here lying. He's out here saying that these boys are just, whether they're white boys or black boys, whatever, he doesn't specify, that they're disrespecting these teachers. That they're just saying they're not listening to them because they're women. Fuck the fact that these teachers are like 22, 23 years old. But he doesn't provide any evidence that really this is happening. Like any audio evidence, nothing that this is happening. You can change the voice, you can do whatever to like protect yourself, protect the people, but you're just going on these women's word that this is happening. These women could be fucking lying. These women could be fucking lying for all we know. And so the reality is, we're just supposed to go on your word that all this bullshit is happening outside the normal shit that kids do, right? And again, everybody is kind of bringing things up, like they're bringing the awareness from a standpoint that people need to do something to these boys. And then you have like the adolescent situation, TV show, where they're trying to use this as a teaching tool. At the end of the fucking day, the reason why I wanted to do this video is, this is what I need you to understand. The reason why with the viral meme part of what BGS was talking about worked so well and it worked for Trump is because you all are not providing a solution. If you want to destroy the red pill, you have to solve the problems the red pill was designed to address. You all are not going to do that, not willingly. So therefore, there's nothing you can do. The reality is, so let's keep it simple. Do you know what the alternative is to the red pill? Slavery. Basically, every man being either a cuck or a sperm donor. You have the 20% of men that are basically sperm donors that all the women put all the feminine energy to, if you let them with their female nature. And then you have the cucks that are supposed to keep the community going, or the American society going. Dudes are just supposed to lay down and let bitches do whatever they want to do because they're women and they're awesome. It doesn't. Men are supposed to let go of these weird ideas like reciprocation. Let go of these ideas like quid pro quo. There's a role I fulfill, there's a role you fulfill, and it's a yin and yang. You're supposed to let that go. Whatever the woman says is good, and whenever she's upset because the man is already doing what she says, he's supposed to say sorry and do what he can to make it better. That is what they want to do. And you know that's what they want to do because they refuse to have a genuine conversation about anything, because they don't want to be on the record. And Touré is a perfect example of the men that are this problem. You have men that benefit from this shit, and they sell the society out, because that's what you're really doing, because you're really selling women out in the long term. Because ultimately, their quality of life is predicated on men. And you weaken men enough, you're weak. That's why they stay bitching about there's no good men. Because apparently we don't understand that if you give women, if you put equilibrium of women when it comes to employment, then that's going to be at the expense of a lot of men. A lot of men that are expected to basically raise children and raise families. But that's what they don't ever understand. That's what they never understand. And that's why they refuse to actually have a debate. They don't want to have a debate. They don't want to have a conversation. They want to stay as far away from that shit as possible because they don't want anything on the record. They don't want to prove that. This is why whenever they had these conversations with Andrew Tate, it's always a one-way conversation where Andrew Tate is the defendant, they're the prosecutor. You saw a lot of these conversations even with JD Vance, where when it was a back and forth, it didn't work. They don't want it. Even that feminist. Hold on one second, y'all. All right. So yeah, so like I was saying, like they don't want to have the conversation. They don't. Because they are afraid of what ideas may come out. And this is not just this is with a lot of shit. Even with the terrorists. I was listening to NPR, and NPR had some good commentary where, well, BGS actually NPR did and BGS did where that dude was talking and what actually showing you how monetary policy works. And then you got dudes that they want to speak from their heart as per usual, which dudes got to really check that shit, like for real. But at the end of the day, man, they are afraid. They are afraid to have this. So the media is making it like one thing because they just want you in fear. And you have to ask yourself, why is everybody so invested when you reacting in fear? Because you don't think. They have you in a constant state of panic. They don't even have a solution for you. The Dems don't even have a solution for you. They just want you in fear so you can be controlled. And it's like, and too many people, and you notice how no matter what the age, race, they just don't get it. They're just angst. And it's like, y'all didn't have all that angst when Biden was doing the bullshit he was doing. The inflation was there. Y'all didn't have that angst. The housing crisis, y'all didn't have that angst. But y'all just got all this angst because he's in there. It's crazy. But like straight up, you got going back to this other situation, they are so afraid because they very much understand that they don't have an answer. BGS talks about they want to come to this equilibrium. I don't know what equilibrium they're trying to come to. BGS did say paternity. They don't even want to touch that because you know what they're terrified of, and I want it. They are terrified that a Me Too paternity situation might happen. That you may have this wave of Me Too and Me Too that is off of paternity fraud. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you this from the bottom of my heart, I don't give a fuck how many parents that tears from their children. I don't give a fuck how many marriages that destroys. I don't care if it destroys all of them. There needs to be a Me Too paternity wave. We need a reset where we find out what these bitches been doing from a vaginal standpoint. I don't care. A lot of men need to insist on a paternity test. If you ain't got nothing to worry about, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. Because I promise you, those numbers are going to look a lot worse than what you think they are. I promise you. And so at the end of the day, stuff like that, they're afraid. But that will reset a lot of stuff. They are afraid. And they should be afraid. Because even the black man, even the manosphere never expected like these boys to be taking on to it. To the extent that that's happening. The boys are not taking on a manosphere doctrine. That's not really what the issue is. What's happening is these boys are having problems. You all basically are like, just deal with it. You all have failed. Feminism has failed. Feminism has failed women, let alone females, let alone males. Feminism has failed. And you just want to go with it anyway, and people want angst. Now that's affecting the boys, which is how feminism has actually failed. These boys can't read even though they're in the custody of these women. All this shit that they will say is a problem, but there is zero solutions to solve it. And so as inquisitive creatures that humans are, they're going to look for a solution. And now it's to the point where you all want to say you can look for a solution, but the manosphere is bad. But you're not providing really any reason it's bad other than using catchphrases like misogyny and shit and hatred of women. And eventually somebody is going to want to see, just to see, is it as bad as what you say? And y'all are like, y'all don't need to do that. Y'all just need to take our word for it. And I'm sorry, it's a freedom of information. And they've done everything to try to corral and control the information flow, and they can't control it anymore. They just can't. And they don't have any answers. And even these women that try to placate men, this one chick at the election that she's clearly like a wannabe Bob. Like this white chick, where it's, you know, it's funny. He wants to wear makeup and look a certain type of way. It's like, bitch, it's very obvious what you're trying to do is be the girlfriend that these niggas want. Because in your fucking mind, these dudes are starving for female attention. So you think that you can direct it by patting dudes on the head. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the fuck you're dealing with. And it's almost to, I know these women are not this stupid. I know they're purposely being this obtuse. And it's like, cool. I want to get into the point where you playing dumb, where you playing stupid hurt. When I say hurts, I mean your quality of life. Where you understand that you playing dumb is like putting your hand in fucking fire when it comes to your quality of life. And there was a white chick that did this. And it's getting there. It's not getting there as fast as I like, but it is getting there. And this is not about hating women. Like, dude, it's not about hating women, man. Like, people say that because they're trying to shut down a conversation. It's not, we don't live in a either kiss her ass or you hate her society, contrary to popular belief. So, and that's why they don't want, because they know if they have these conversations, just like that documentary Dumper was talking about, when you have these conversations, you are not going to be able to just charge it off to men just hate women. And that's all they got. It's very obvious. Because if they had other moves, they would do other moves. This is why this is like World War Z. They're trying to do the only thing they can do, they tried to ignore it to death. Now what they're doing is containment. And you already know how desperate they were. They did everything but kill Andrew Tate. That's how desperate. They're desperate. They're letting all the cards out. They're desperate. And I'm going to tell you why. When I say they, I don't even necessarily mean women. I mean the higher class. They're desperate because essentially they were using women as the buffer class, and the women were the pink wall. They put up in order to create a certain class warfare social norm that created a certain consistent voting set of voting patterns that could control things. If you got people worried about fucking abortion rights and goofy ass shit like that, they're not going to be worried about the economy. What's going on? What y'all been doing? How y'all been stealing wealth from the American people? You've been stealing wealth from the American people using this global order bullshit in order to enrich yourselves, and now at the expense of other Americans. They're not going to be pulling their shit up the hood and pulling your skirt up to see what the fuck you've been doing. Really doing. That's what they really scared of. Because motherfuckers out here arguing over dumb shit. SAP has done a good job talking about this. That's what they really afraid of. Because this is just like the start of like doing that. So I just want to put that out there, give my 2 cents on that. You know, check out BGS's video. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.